Hello YouTube, Atlanta to Dallas Aviation here with another video. Today's video is the debut of my Global Alliance International Airport. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about this. So again, this is a fictional airport. So it allows for some creativity rather than just being an existing airport. So what I feel like is unique about my fictional airport is it's a nation state unto itself. So it is, my vision of it is that it's on land that is straddled over basically the United States border in Texas, and also some land that is, or was, I guess, part of Mexico. And because it's a nation state, it allows me to potentially use foreign carrier narrow body aircraft. And part of what it allows me to do, being a nation state, is to be able to say, okay, I have a let's say a Korean Air, I don't have this by the way, a Korean Air 737-900, if they even have those. And I'm going to have it based here at Global Alliance Airport, and wherever Korean Air already serves the United States or already serves Mexico, the 737 can provide domestic US or domestic Mexico service, but from my airport. So basically, it can only serve cities that Korean Air serves internationally in the United States. But now it also can serve those same cities domestically, but you have to connect in Global Alliance International to be able to provide that domestic service. So like many foreign carriers serve New York and they serve Los Angeles, but they can't sell tickets from New York to Los Angeles. But what Global Alliance, I'm saying, allows to happen is that those foreign carriers can now sell New York to Los Angeles as a domestic ticket, but they have to stop at Global Alliance International to continue on or to change planes and continue on to Los Angeles. So I hope that I did a decent job of explaining what that does. If I'm able to, in my video, I will try to put a picture of where I picture Global Alliance Airport to be, so anyone else who has a fictional airport and they want to provide service to and from Global Alliance, you'll sort of know where Global Alliance is. You know, so I mean, it's a fantasy airport, yes, but we try to keep some realism, like, you know, you know, the airplanes can only fly so far. So just because this is a fictional airport, if your fictional airport is on the other side of the world, so let's say you have a fictional airport in Australia. Well, the only planes that can fly direct to my airport are probably a lot of the wide body that have long range. So like, real quick here. So, oops. So like way over there, I have a Qantas 787-9. Well, that one's not going to be able to make a nonstop flight from Global Alliance all the way to Sydney. That plane, as we will get to in a little while, will be flying to Sydney, but via Los Angeles. And what you're seeing here, this is the more of the. I'm not really sure. I haven't completely thought this out completely, but so you can see here is here's some regional aircraft. So it's basically, you know, shorter haul things, so it's really not able to go anywhere past the southern half of Mexico or North America, or anywhere, you know, in the south portion of Canada. But anyway, so there's regional there, and technically, if you want to think about it, domestic. However, you also see that there are you can probably see that there are some internationals carriers here, and this is basically the building that they use. Even if they carry out some U.S. domestic or Mexico domestic services, they park at this concourse, if you will. But moving to the building right in front of us, this is this was technically my first building for this airport, and as you can see, there's a lot of U.S. carriers here, and this is basically where the U.S. carriers carry out their portion of the GAI air ops. Right over there you can see some hangar space. Yes, there's some hangar space over there. You'll also see that there's a Galaxy, a C5 Galaxy over there. They park over there. There's some maintenance done here. Over here is the Hammerhead. As you can see, it's not enclosed. So I started working on this when I lived in Orlando, and I was still working for what was AirTran, this Hammerhead is based on the Hammerhead that's on the concourse in Milwaukee. And I started working on it, but I never really ever finished it. So there's no top on it. So again, fictional airport, just assume that it's a finished building and that there is a top on it. And so, as you can see, there's some more domestic U.S. carriers there. And then what won't be in the debut, this little spot over here is where I would have my cargo stuff, because my cargo building is over there, and I also will usually do my unveiling videos over there, or my fleet videos over there. If the fleet is small enough, I will do it on that little table over there. And then one other spot, I know this is all over the place, but oh well, all right. Well, on top of that, on the very top of that display cabinet, and what's in that display cabinet is my 200 scale models. On top of it, there is another building. Okay, I'll do this. All right, so now you can see there's another little satellite building there, and right now it's got JetBlue and Spirit over there, and that's what we'll be using that building in the debut. So, a little bit more background. So, why is it called Global Alliance? So, as many of y'all probably know, there are basically three major global alliances. The Star Alliance, One World, and SkyTeam. So, what does that mean? Because it looks like I have a mixture of all of them here on the airport. Well, that's not always the case. So today's video is highlighting the overnights. So basically these are all going to be originators in my debut, and what's going to happen, and because of that you have everybody. You have all three alliances, and you have a slew of independent carriers, if you will, that aren't part of an alliance. And basically the idea here is that other than when they all come into overnight and when they all go out in the morning, that's the only time that all three alliances and the independents are at the airport at the same time. So basically, the idea is once this departs, once the originators depart, the inbound aircraft will be aircraft from each alliance. And each alliance has 2 times a day. I know this is it's going to make the airport be extremely busy, but each alliance, and if you want to include the independents as a 4th alliance, so there's 4 alliances, if you will, they both have 2 times a day to fly in, make all their connections, and fly out. So basically two pushes, what's the correct word for this? Two pushes, blocks. Okay, well, I don't know. My mind's not working today. So, but anyway, 2 times a day, 2 times a day, just SkyTeam. 2 times a day, just One World. 2 times a day, just Star Alliance. 2 times a day, just independence. So that's the idea in my head of how Global Alliance works. So yes, that could mean that there's some overlap, and if anything is running late, other alliances could be waiting for gates as the alliance before it pushes out and are doing their departures. But that's my vision for what happens at Global Alliance. Now, a little bit of additional background. So like I may have already said, I picked doing a fictional airport to allow me some, if you will, I guess, artistic leeway for, time period, for aircraft types. Like maybe if I wanted to, even though the Delta 747s are now retired. Well, I got one of those. They're in this onward and upward livery. Maybe I want to substitute that in. It sort of allows me to kind of do that. So it gives me some leeway to use other than modern equipment. It also allows me to overlap use of equipment when there may, in real life, there may not have actually been that overlap. So like I have a bunch of models that are the old classic widget. However, some aircraft that wore the classic widget at one point or another did not serve with other ones that later did. So the Convair 880, which wore classic widget livery at one point, never flew at the same time as a 757 that wore a classic livery. So because it's fictional, it somewhat allows me to use whatever models I want to, even though I'll still try to stay semi-true to time period and things like that. But anyway, so another reason I started doing a fictional airport many years ago when I started collecting. So we're flashing back now to 1998, 1999, and I'm living in Atlanta at this point, and I have a 2-car garage. And the 2-car garage isn't the 2-car garage where you have a extra wide garage door and you can barely get 2 cars in there. I had a house where the 2-car garage had 2 separate, like not as wide, but so 2 garage doors for 2 separate cars. So in that garage, I had my fictional airport set up in half of that garage. So half that garage was dedicated to nothing but my airport, and I had, and even if you're looking at this setup and thinking, wow, that's a lot of gates, my garage airport was much bigger, and it allowed for all the alliances and all the independents to operate whenever they wanted to, basically. But of course, I eventually got a different job where I had to leave Atlanta. I went to Orlando, and I went from a nice big 2-car garage to a single car garage in a much smaller house. So pretty much the whole time I was in Orlando from 2006 to 2010, I didn't collect airplanes. I didn't have my airport set up. I had nothing. And a lot changed in that 4-year time period, and now come to current day, I have basically just an office here, and I have other memorabilia and pieces of furniture in here, if you didn't already notice when I was panning around. So the airport is scaled down, and as you could see, there really isn't any taxiways. So anytime you see an airport update, it's basically going to be maybe planes pushing back, but there's not going to be any taxiing aircraft. I don't really even have taxiways for when they back away from their terminals. So there's not going to be any pictures of planes on runways or on taxiways or anything like that. But what I would like to include is I have already started a list of YouTubers that have fictional airports. And part of my story about being in Atlanta with that airport was, back then YouTube wasn't a really big thing, and you only had the I guess blogs. There was a particular blog, DAC, I think that was Diecast Aircraft, I don't remember, but it was DAC. And that was basically how I showed off pictures of my airplanes, and we talk about models and things with other enthusiasts. And at the time, I had started with just a few people who also had fantasy airports, and we actually started creating like a schedule. And I probably still have, when my collection was that much smaller, I still have my schedules that I created for all the models that I had at the time. And so some of those, they flew to regular airports, but they also flew to a handful of people who had fictional airports. And I don't know what has ever happened to any of those people. I don't know if they still have their fictional airport, if any of the people that I have now written down fictional airports for, if those were some of the people I was talking to way back in the day. But anyway, what I would like to do is I would like to create a group of fictional airports. So if you have a fictional airport, please, in the comments, please leave the name of your fictional airport and tell me approximately where it's located and what what area it serves. Because I still want to have some realism and know how far away the airports are. So when I say this aircraft is going to such and so's airport, that I know that aircraft can reach that fictional airport from my fictional airport. But I would like to start a society, if you will, of fictional airports. And unlike what some people do right now, where they have subscriber routes, if if you want to have flights to my airport, have flights to my airport. Even if I don't own the model that you want to send. You know, I plan on doing a similar type of thing. I don't require the person on the other end to reciprocate and say, okay, well, you did a flight to my airport, so I'll do a flight to your airport. You know what? I don't want to deal with that. If you want me to coordinate with you, I will try to, but I also can't promise you that that my fictional airport's going to be a regular thing. I can't make that promise to you. So, you know, so it's easier for me. I do want to have flights to your airport. I do want you to have flights from your airport to mine, but for me to be able to reciprocate, or for me to require you to reciprocate, that's not what I do. So please, if you want to be part of the fictional airport community, again, please leave it in the comments. Tell me what the name of your airport is and the approximate. It doesn't have to be a specific thing, but an approximate location of where your airport is located, and what area it serves, so I can at least add some realism to that. But anyway, so this portion of the video is getting close to the 30 minute range. So I am going to, if you have any other questions about my fictional airport, I will also do my best to answer your questions. Just leave those in the comments. And at this point, which would be as long as my videos usually are, I would ask you that if you're enjoying this video, please leave a like. If you enjoy multiple videos, please consider subscribing to the channel, even though I really only do this for the fun of it. I'm not trying to make any money from this or anything, so but you know, it'd be nice if it got to that point. And I really think I'm going to make this a part one, because I don't want my video to be, I don't really want my videos to be longer than 30 minutes, and I'm at the 29-minute range right now. So this is going to be debut part one. Therefore, if you want to just see where my models are going to, you can just look at part two. So until part two, I bid you happy collecting.